If I can't say another nice thing about the person to whom I've been legally married for many years, and I can, it's totally fair to impart that lots of folks with whom she's friends have good things to say about her. Now, then, maybe they're correct in what they say and maybe they're mistaken, but they do seem to hold those opinions, and, many of them are quite good. Now, to be fair, there are many who don't agree with that, but, that's, I think, pretty much life. Hello, this is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Sunday, the 27th of December of 2020, and I wanted to welcome those who are listening or watching on Rumble, who are listening on the podcast, and who are watching also on YouTube. Thank you for coming along, and hopefully I'll have something that you'll enjoy seeing and maybe that you'll learn a little bit something from. I wanted to talk today about a subject that I have given the title to the little piece I'm doing of A Good Person. But before I do that, I wanted to take just a second to talk about something that I think maybe I haven't spent enough time putting out there about what I'm doing. Look, I didn't start doing my little videos or my podcast in order to speak in a vacuum. I want to hear your opinions of what I say. I definitely want to hear them. And I may disagree. We may go back and forth, and I may decide you're right in the long run, or I may decide you're wrong. You may look at what I have to say, and you may say the same. You may go, no, he's wrong, he's mistaken, whatever. And that's fine. It's okay for that to happen. Please, if you're not doing so already, if you are a subscriber, or even if you're not, and you just happen to want to comment and you're able to do so, I don't know how that all works for certain, but I think you probably are. By all means, do it. We may disagree, we may come off agreeing, I may just say, yep, I agree with that, but the thing is, other people are going to potentially benefit from that as well. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on that because I really want to kind of delve into the concept that I already have been discussing, and so I wanted to get back to the idea of the person I was discussing in my intro, and I wanted to say she may or may not be the same thing to everyone. So how she acted to me or acts to me may not be the same, even if others, quote, extol her virtues. It doesn't mean that's who she is across the board. So that's something that you have to take into consideration. But here's the thing. The point of my title today is that if you call yourself good or nice or patient or pleasant or easygoing or empathetic or empathic or happy or kind or peaceful or a good listener or polite, that to me is a problem. It's a problem. If you've ever heard me do that, you should dress me down for it. I'm just letting you know, you really should dress me down for doing that. You should never hear out of my mouth that I am these things. Now, what makes that worse, in my opinion, is that there are a lot of folks out there who seem to be interested in trying to push other people in that direction, or say that they don't want to deal with other people on the basis that they're not as holy as I am. Right? Which is what any of those things to me is. It's I'm holier than thou, or I'm at least as holy as thou. Right? And I don't have any time for that. Let me just help you to understand something. No, I'm not. All right. And I want to get into that too, but give me a second, right? Let me talk about this idea first. Of all the things that you can tell people you are, humble is probably one of the worst. Why? Because if I tell you, well, I'm humble, what does that say about me other than that I'm trying to toot my own horn and the idea that I'm humble? This is not something that I consider to be a reasonable thing for you to do. It's just not, right? Are you humble? I'm not saying you are, and I'm not saying you're not. Are you happy? I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you're not. Are you a good person? I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you're not. Are you a kind person? I'm not saying you are, and I'm not saying you're not. And perhaps if you ask me and I know you, I might answer you that you are any and all of these things. I'm not trying to say that they're not true. I'm trying to say that there are a number of things that a person can say about him or herself. By the way, very quickly, I wanted to take the time to apologize for the fact that I'm maybe clearing my throat a little bit this morning. I'm going to try and edit that out of the podcast, but it still will make its way into the video because I don't tend to edit the video. But anyway, the point is, I can say that I'm all of these things, but the reality is they're not really things for me to judge. They're not really things for me to say about myself. Now, it's okay for me to say, other people say I'm humble. It's okay for me to say other people say I'm kind. It's okay for me to say other people say I'm good and so forth. All of those things are fine as far as I'm concerned. I consider it to be pushing it a little bit because though you can kind of state that they are sort of willing to make testimonials to that effect if you want to do that, the reality is I want for you to learn who I am by knowing me. I don't want you to learn who I am necessarily even by testimonial. I'm not saying that that's, inherently a bad thing. That somebody's saying I'm a good person, I'm a humble person, I'm a kind person, that is about me, saying that outside of me about me. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is that the way that's going to prove itself out is in my relationship with you and others. Who you see me to be is not necessarily going to be the same as who other people tell you I am. And it's certainly not necessarily going to be the person I tell you that I am if I say that I'm a particular thing. Now, is it fair to say I try to be humble? I try to be kind? I try to be empathetic, empathic, whatever, show sympathy? I try to be good. I try to be nice. Yeah, absolutely. It's okay to say that. But you have to make it very clear that you're not saying I am, but that's something that I work towards. I work toward perfect, but it doesn't mean I'm perfect, right? And it doesn't mean that I'm achieving what I work towards lots of times either. That's not how that works. Just because I think or say I am or am working toward even this thing doesn't mean that I'm anywhere near that thing. There are lots of ways in which I'd love to be a better person, and I just know at this point I'm not that person. There are other ways that I think I am this thing or that thing, and it turns out maybe I'm not as good at that as I thought I was, right? And I'm not trying to get on anybody's case. I just want for you to understand that if you say to me, I'm a kind person, I'm a good person, I'm a sympathetic person, I'm an empathetic person, I'm a humble person, I'm a nice person, I'm a friendly person, I'm an easygoing person, I'm a low maintenance person, whatever you happen to say, I want you to know something. What I'm going to do with that is this. I'm going to toss it out the window. If I don't know you and I can't attest to the fact that that's true, that idea is gone. And when you do that with me, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to assume that you think things about yourself that maybe they're true, maybe they're not. And the result is that, generally speaking, I'm probably not going to want much to do with you much of the time. And here's the thing. If you don't say anything at all, we'll both be better off, because I'll find out who you are over the course of time. And here's another point. Here's another important consideration, right? Excuse me, I got a little bit of an itch on my eye going on here. Let me take care of that. Here's another important point. When you talk, if you don't say, I'm an empathetic person, I'm a kind person, I'm a good person, whatever, but it's very apparent in how you comport yourself, in who you are and what kind of person you are, people will see, people will learn, people will know. Your task, if task you have, and let me tell you, you do, is to make sure that you are trying to do the things that you think make you a better, nicer, kinder, more empathetic, more polite person. It's not to tell other people that you are those things. It's to let those other people see those qualities in you. That candle that you don't hide under that bushel, part of the reason for that is it's got its own light and it just shines. It doesn't need to say, I'm a candle and I'm shining. When somebody's shooting at you and saying, I'm not shooting at you, it doesn't matter that they said they're not shooting at you. Okay? All right, I need to wrap things up. Today, again, is Sunday, the 27th of December of 2020, and I'm, as I say, glad to have you along. Whether on Rumble, on podcast, or YouTube, I am definitely glad to see you again. If you have any question that you can or should comment on what I'm saying, you absolutely can. And if you've got something that you feel is important to say, you definitely should. I hope that you're having a good Sunday. Again, the beginning of the week for the people who believe as I do. Again, the beginning of the work week for most people will be tomorrow. Most folks will have a short week for this next week. And if I don't see you before then, which hopefully I will, have a Happy New Year. And other than that, let me just say that I hope that I will see you again tomorrow. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Sunday, the 27th of December of 2020. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.